Now, I have a hard-hitting question to ask you all before we start this video. If you sit on a voodoo doll of yourself, will you be able to get back up? Life-changing question here. Life-changing question. Hey everyone, welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10 and welcome to today's video. I'm your host, Lindsay and today I'm bringing you the top 10 scary voodoo doll stories. Starting off this list, we have the stepmom. So this story was posted by the Reddit user Gaming Peanut, and she claims that her and her friend accidentally created a real working voodoo doll. So this took place when she was in 4th grade. This girl had a best friend named Kate who didn't like her stepmother. So one night at a sleepover, they decided to make a voodoo doll of the stepmom. You know, typical sleepover things. So they took something that the stepmom had touched and attached it to a Barbie doll. This was some fur from the jacket her mom wore daily. They then pushed pins in the doll's eyes and ears. I mean, they didn't expect it to work, they just wanted to have fun and get their anger out. However, that weekend, the stepmom's eyes went bloodshot and were incredibly sore. She also said that she had aches all over her body. So these girls somehow managed to turn a Barbie doll into a real working voodoo doll. In our 9th spot, we have the 2 deaf dolls. These dolls are called the deaf dolls as they are earless voodoo dolls. In fact, they are locked up in Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum. Ed and Lorraine Warren were paranormal investigators. The Conjuring and other series are based off of them. So these dolls were said to attack individuals and make them sick until they die. It started off with a doll collector that stumbled upon them. Apparently, her son became incredibly sick because of the dolls and almost died. When she suspected that the dolls were causing his illness, she reached out to the Warrens. The dolls were taken to their museum and the boy immediately got better. Apparently, there was another instance with these dolls though, where someone touched the doll in the museum and that day he was involved in a bad accident. But now they are locked safely in the museum. Just no one go there and fool around with the dolls, please. Moving on to number 8, we have the lamb doll. So this next woman claims that she encountered a haunted voodoo doll. So it started with her and her dad shopping at an antique store. While browsing, she came across this old lamb doll sitting in a baby booster seat. She said it looked handmade and maybe dated back to the late 1800s. However, as soon as she picked up the doll, she instantly felt sick. She was overwhelmed with bad vibes and felt almost like she was stuck in a dark trance. Now, I'm glad that she just didn't buy it because there are too many people that would have just ignored the signs and bought it anyway. In our 7th spot, we have the cursed voodoo doll. So this next individual believes that the haunting that they faced in their childhood home was from a cursed voodoo doll. So in 2010, this individual said that their mother used to use a voodoo doll. Since she started using it, strange things would happen. Stuff would disappear, they would see things in the corner of their eye, and objects like glasses and knives would be thrown at them. The mother was even scratched once while taking a bath. Then the mom started seeing this 6'5" gray shadow wearing a trench coat and a cowboy hat. They believe that this spirit is attached to the voodoo doll. They even have been punched in the stomach and have had their hair pulled by this spirit. Now, this person then proceeded to ask for help on what they should do. I mean, I'm no expert, but you gotta find a way to get rid of that doll. And I mean, I hope they figured it out by now. Moving on to number 6, we have the revenge doll. This next story was posted by the Reddit user The Golden Light. Now, I'm sure back in high school or elementary school we've all had a run-in with a bully. Now, there are some good ways to handle bullies and some bad ways. A bad way would be getting a voodoo doll made of the bully and torturing them with it. And that's exactly what this user did, but by accident. So this user claims that he was bullied by a dude named Nick. One day after school, him and his girlfriend saw a woman making handcrafted dolls. As a joke, the girlfriend insisted that they should get one made of Nick. Well, they ended up doing that, and then that night they contorted the left arm of the doll. The next day, Nick posted a picture on social media of his arm's x-ray, and it was captioned, "Not really sure how I did this, but I woke up this morning with a broken left arm." So that's how my weekend started. I love how he didn't even question it. Like, it's pretty dang hard to break your arm in your sleep. Now, the street vendor who made the doll did say that her dolls were custom made for someone who deserved to suffer. Later on that evening, they couldn't find the doll. That's when the smoke detector went off and they found the doll on a pan on the stove. The next day, Nick posted on social media saying, "Small grease fire at work never hurt nobody, right?" Attached was a photo of his burnt back. but who knows the validity of the story. But what I do know is that nobody should mess with voodoo dolls. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the question mark doll. So this next user by the name of Immortal shares their story with a voodoo doll that they bought. Again, what did you think was going to happen when you bought the doll? So they claim that spooky things would happen, like the door would open and close by themselves. Then one night he felt like he was being watched, so he threw something at the doll to knock it over from his eye line. In the morning, the doll lay perfectly upright on the floor, while the other items that got knocked over were upside down or on their side. Eventually, he ended up digging a hole and burning and burying the doll. But that didn't stop spooky things from happening. In fact, one morning he woke up to find the same objects scattered all over the floor the same way from the night he knocked it over. But in the spot where the doll should be, there was just a black question mark on the wall. Coming in at number 4, we have the garage sale doll. Garage sales are great to buy other people's used cheap junk or to buy cursed items. So this one girl's mom bought a box full of miscellaneous items from a garage sale. In the box there was a 3 to 4 inch little girl doll. The doll was described as having creepy eyes and a needle stuck into her body under her dress. Now the girl ended up becoming so sick for a week. She had terrible stomach pains, would constantly throw up, and felt very weak. Fast forward to a year later, one day she had a friend over, and her friend was known to be able to see auras and was more connected to the paranormal side. Now her friend saw the doll and got really bad vibes from it. They ended up burning the doll, but that night the doll haunted her dream where people were surrounding a fire chanting, "Bring her back! Bring her back!" Moving on at number 3, we have the 3 deaths. So this one voodoo doll was responsible for the deaths of 3 individuals. This story was told by a woman named Amanda. I believe the names were changed for privacy reasons. So Amanda's family all suffered from a voodoo doll curse. Her mom, Esther, her sister Vivian, and another man all passed away from this said curse. So when clearing out her family's items from their home, she came across an old box. Inside it, it had a stuffed toy that was kind of in a fish shape. Attached to it were 3 photographs, one of her sister, one of her mom, and then one of a man that she didn't recognize. Then there were pins inserted into the doll. She thought that the box belonged to her brother Roger. He was a fisherman and traveled around the world. Apparently, while traveling in Brazil, he learned black magic or macumba. Macumba is a ritual used to seek revenge on family members. Now, Amanda's sister passed away from a ruptured spleen, and the voodoo doll had a pin placed on the doll's spleen. So she believes that her brother Roger was responsible for the deaths of those 3 individuals. Moving on to number 2, we have He's Smiling Now doll. This next story comes from a woman who at the time of the story was a psychiatrist in training. So this woman had one patient that would make and collect voodoo dolls. She described her as a very nice Haitian woman in her late 30s named Timothy. In her room she had a line of dolls on a shelf. Now Timothy would always say, "He's smiling now," but the psychiatrist had no clue to what that meant. Timothy was in this facility after getting in an argument with her building's neighbor and stabbing him in the chest. However, he survived this attack. She was later diagnosed with schizophrenia. When the woman was asked about the neighbor who she injured, she said, "He was a mean old man, never smiled once in his miserable life, but he's smiling now." She then picked up a doll that had a pin in its belly. Attached to the pin was red yarn, which also connected upwards to create a smile for the doll. Several days later, they found her neighbor dead. There was a knife jabbed into his stomach, and on his face there was a red, big smile. Whether this story is true or not, that is horrifying. And in our number 1 spot, we have the haunted zombie doll. Okay, first off, it should be self-explanatory to not buy cursed objects. So this story is about a woman who bought a real voodoo doll off of eBay. And I've looked on eBay, there are so many cursed or haunted voodoo dolls that you can buy there. But don't. But if you wanna pay to get haunted, go ahead, I'm not stopping you. So the doll was called the Haunted Zombie Doll and was labeled as very active and almost alive. It also came with specific care instructions. It was to always be locked away in its silver viewing box. But this girl ignored all that. She intended on having it as a decor piece. Not judging, but I'd just say stick to IKEA decor. Well, anyways, she reported that this doll had repeatedly attacked her, which left her with cuts and bruises on her legs. One night she heard tapping noises downstairs, and when she went to explore, she found the doll on the ground. This continued constantly. Then she was sitting on her porch one night and she felt a stinging sensation on her leg. When she looked down, she had 3 claw marks on her ankle. Every night she would wake up with a new scratch or mark on her body. She then locked the doll back in its box and put it in her basement. But that didn't stop it. The doll would haunt her dreams, and sometimes she could hear evil laughs and giggles coming from the doll. Now, she eventually resold the doll on eBay. But this dang doll ended up back on her doorstep. Eventually, she got the doll blessed, which made the activity calm down. She now keeps it permanently locked in its box. Like, honestly, what did she expect buying a cursed doll? Literally saying, highly active, almost alive. And that's it for today's video. It is now time for my comment shout out. I'll be shouting out comments from my video, Top 10 Time Capsules That Should Never Be Opened. Tanya Williams commented, I wish the government finally tells us about the existence of aliens. Right? I mean, I really want to know what's in Area 51. Like, what are they hiding? Liz Botha commented, I would never put my Charmander Pokemon cards in a time capsule. They are too precious to me. Well, I mean, you can always sell them because Pokemon cards are selling for a lot of money now. Just pawn them off, get rich. Thank me later. Tihomir Haluzin commented, they need to put you in a time capsule so that the future doesn't miss out on most amazing top 10. Thank you, I guess that's a compliment, but I'll pass, okay? And that's it for today's video. Make sure you comment something down below for a chance to be featured in my next comment shout out. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Most Amazing Top 10 for more amazing videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll see you when I see you.